Morning. It is Monday, April 26th, and yeah, Monday, April 26th. I'm laying here with the dogs, getting ready to go over to Chadwick to do some yard work. I need to mow the yard, I'm guessing. I haven't done it for over a week. Um, but, and I'm looking kind of crazy. I don't even know how many days it's been since I washed my hair. I need to go wash up. I haven't done that yet. I was trying to figure out what that was. That's the plastic hair tie. Anyways, I'm making a video because the drama in Chadwick is starting all over again. If you see me moving the camera, it's because the dogs are moving. I got a call last Wednesday and again last Thursday from the village lawyer, Ed Mitchell, wanting to know what I was going to do with the buckets. And I was kind of in shock that I got a call, to be quite honest. That's why I've waited so long to make a video, because I peanut. I moved away to get away from all that drama, but he was civil on the voicemail, and the first one was saying that they had a board meeting, and one of the board members or trustees or whatever they're called had brought up the fact that they considered the buckets to be a nuisance, and they wanted me to get rid of them. They wanted to know what I was going to do with them. And I didn't respond because I was kind of like, I can't believe this is starting up again. And then he called the next day and basically asking the same thing, what am I going to do with the buckets? And again, I couldn't. So apparently, a board member, or members plural, finds the buckets to be a nuisance and wants to know what I'm going to do with them. So short answer at this point is nothing. And the reason being is I've got some other things going on in my life. So a little off topic. It's something that I've been wanting to talk about. I was just gonna wait until I had more information, but I need to my fibromyalgia has gotten so bad that I'm now using a cane to walk. Around the house here, I use a golf club because Rainbow would eat. The cane I have is a really beautifully carved wooden one. I got it at Goodwill. And I have been using golf clubs to walk around outside here and inside because, Rainbow is my goat. She eats everything. But yeah, so I've been using walking aids to help walk, to help with balance. And that's how bad my fibromyalgia has gotten. I can't sit down or get up without being in so much pain that I cry out. And I'm in excruciating pain from the moment I wake up until the moment I go to bed. And I even think I'm in pain while I sleep because all I can do most days is just nap all day. And there was one day that I was napping with the dogs and I woke myself up screaming bloody murder. And the dogs are all like terrified, looking at me, wondering what's going on. And I'm just like, I'm aware that I have just woken myself up by screaming. And I don't know if it was the pain or if maybe my PTSD, because I have nightmares. I don't know if maybe I had a nightmare when I was napping, but yeah, so I've been looking into um, maybe if there's other reasons, and I need to talk to the doctor. I need to get some testing done. I did some research, and MS, multiple sclerosis, is often confused for fibromyalgia. There's a misdiagnosis because the symptoms are so similar, and Um, I only did a little research into it because initial testing is blood work to see if you have markers, and then the next stage will be, I think it was an MRI on your brain to check for lesions, and that's when I stopped researching because I'm like, I don't want to know anymore. I'm just gonna get in touch with the doctor and see where to go from here because whether it is something else like MS or some other autoimmune thing, or whether it is just my fibromyalgia that just has gotten so out of control that I can no longer manage it. I just need to find a better way of managing my pain because it's not working anymore. So, yeah, so I have other things going on in my life right now than worrying about whether or not a village board member considers some buckets to be a nuisance. So, yeah. So, it's gonna be all I can do to maintain two houses. Fortunately, here there's no yard to mow. Um, the former owner took care of that with rocks and walkways, and so there's no yard to mow. So I only have to mow Chadwick, but quarter of an acre, push more with somebody who can barely walk. It's gonna take all I have just to be able to maintain the lot in Chadwick. So yeah, I've got other things I need to worry about than dealing with some buckets that a board member or even a couple board members find to be a nuisance. Um, so that's kind of what's going on with me, and that's just one, aspect of what's going on with me. But I kind of wanted to give some perspective to this whole thing. Like my neighbor, he's great. It's not, I say he because he's the one I always talk to, but he's married, he's got a wife, he's got a couple kids living there. Um, but his yard, his house, it's immaculate, it's beautiful. And a while ago he had a couple lawnmowers on the side of the house and he sold them. Well, actually I don't know if he sold them. They just I saw they I was pulling in one day and they were getting loaded and taken away, and then shortly after a big chest freezer showed up in the place where the lawnmowers used to be. And my first thought was, wow, that's a big freezer. And, and I'm like, you could hide a dead body in there. I'm like, wow. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, that makes sense. Not the dead body part, but he's a hunter, and I'm sure hunting season is coming up, and I'm like, he probably just brought the freezer out there to, you know, store the meat or whatever that he gets from hunting. And then I'm like, wait a minute, that thing is electric, and I'm like, probably can't be good for it to be, plugged in outside. And so my first thoughts were, because I had bought a tarp that I need it for something, but I haven't used it yet. And my first idea was, well, maybe I should go over and bring the tarp to see if he needs the tarp to cover it so, it doesn't get damaged. So, it's this big, ginormous freezer on the side of his house. You notice it, and I'm sure for a lot of people, they would consider it a nuisance. But for me, my first thoughts were, how can I help him protect it? And that's just how I am. I don't know. And the reason, even if it did bother me, which it doesn't, it's his house. It's his yard. I don't get to tell him what to do in his house and what to do in his yard. So if he wants to put a freezer on the side of his house, that's his business. That is none of my business. I just have to live with it. And it doesn't matter if I like it or I don't like it. It doesn't matter. It's none of my business. I don't pay his bills. Um, I don't tell him how to live his life. So, and that's kind of how I see it. And that's actually, um, um, sorry, I'm petting my dogs. I'm not good at multitasking anymore. I used to be. But so yeah, so and that's kind of what I tried to convey in that video I made last year, which did not go over well. But the life in Chadwick, where I went around and I took pictures of just life in Chadwick, where people had stuff in their yard and, the washer, which, I loved, and, piles of bricks and just stuff. And I had said in the video that I wouldn't mind being neighbors with any of these people because that kind of stuff doesn't bother me. But I also understand I don't get to tell anybody how to live their life. That's not my right. I don't get to tell anybody how they should be living their life, how their house should be. Um, I don't pay their bills. I don't make those decisions. So if there's something that I happen not to like about their house or their property, I don't get to tell them to change. It's none of my business what they choose to do with their property. And that's what that whole video was trying to convey, but obviously I did not do a very good job because everybody just seemed to be unhappy about the fact that their house was shown for like 5 seconds in the video, which was unfortunate. But um yeah, I don't get to tell people how to live. I don't, and frankly, like I said, I don't care. I don't care that my neighbor's got a giant, you know, deep freezer on the side of his house. And, if he wanted to put up, anything, flamingos, there were a bunch of flamingos when I moved here. I took them down because it's not my decorating style. But if somebody wanted to have all that stuff, none of my business. I mind my own business. And um so yeah, I stay out of other people's business, and um I don't butt into their business. And um so and I guess I needed to put a little more thought into this video. I had wanted to write like a list because my brain is just fried lately because it's just processing pain. But um I guess getting back to the buckets and how um they or one person or whoever it is thinks the buckets are a nuisance. I don't think the buckets are a nuisance. And I'll put a little slideshow in with that annoying music at the end of the video because the 5 gallon buckets, they're an everyday part of my life. I I had meant to make a list of all the stuff I use them for, but like right over there, there's a bucket filled with dog toys. I've got a bucket next to me that has a crochet project that I'm working on. There's another bucket out there with yarn for the next project I wanted to work on, even though I haven't crocheted in months. But I have another 5 gallon bucket that's full of my gardening tools. I have a bucket in storage that it's one of the orange Home Depot buckets, and it's literally custom made for a 5 gallon bucket. I think it's made by Husky or something, but it fits over the top rim of the bucket, and it's this heavy duty canvas, and it allows you to put tools all the way around, and then you carry stuff inside. So it's designed for a 5 gallon bucket. And so I have another bucket with tools. I have a bucket that literally gets used every day because I put my recycling in it, and then when it's full I take it outside and I put it in the can outside of recycling. I have every time I go, not every time, but when I go to Walmart, I usually, first thing, I go right back to the paint section. I pick up a couple buckets, I do my grocery shopping, and then instead of using grocery bags, I put everything in the buckets because they're heavy duty. I know when I'm carrying stuff, especially if there's like glass bottles, that the bags aren't gonna rip through, and I'm gonna end up with a bunch of broken, food bottles all over the place. So I use them in place of shopping bags. Especially, the pandemic, I used to be one of those people that would bring my reusable shopping bags. And you can't do that now with COVID. So, I use them in place of shopping bags. And, out on the deck, there is the rock salt that I used during the winter. So one of the buckets is filled with rock salt. And, they're literally an everyday part of my life. So I don't find them to be a nuisance. Um, so I'm being told to get rid of something because one person, or plural, more than one person, finds them to be a nuisance, where I find them to be just an everyday part of my life. And I use them for so many different things. And I don't plan on getting rid of them. They're just, why should I capitulate and bend over and get rid of something that I consider to be an asset because one or more person thinks it's a nuisance. They don't pay my bills. They don't maintain the property. They're not going to be out there mowing it for me. They couldn't if they want to. I have the whole place locked down. It's chained. Not that somebody couldn't climb over the fence, but that's when I left it I put chains and everything on the fence so it couldn't be opened unless you have the key for the locks. And um so yeah, I don't have any immediate plans to do anything with the buckets. It's gonna take everything I have just to get there and mow. And the buckets, they're kind of spread out. Before I left, I kind of spread them out. So like there's, I don't know, 4 or 5 buckets along the side of the shed. And I did that so they wouldn't all be in one place and be such an eyesore. Um, but apparently, I don't know what this individual, I don't know what their vendetta is against buckets, but yeah. So Ed, I haven't called you back. I really don't intend to. I can't believe this is starting up again, to be quite honest. But so I'm gonna maintain the property and mow it, but I'm not at this point gonna do anything with the buckets. Um, if the village wants to pass some kind of ordinance prohibiting the residents of Chadwick from having buckets, and if you would like to go door to door to every resident in Chadwick and require that they forfeit all their buckets. And these buckets don't just come in 5 gallon, they're 1 gallon, 3 gallon, 5 gallon. And if you're going to get rid of these kind of buckets, you're going to need to get rid of every bucket there is, because you can't differentiate between the buckets. A bucket is a bucket. So if you would like to go through and mandate that every resident in the village of Chadwick get rid of their buckets, and then, pass an ordinance making it, illegal or whatever to have buckets, then, I guess you have some grounds then to come and ask me to do something with the buckets. But otherwise, I really don't think you can force one person to get rid of buckets when, a whole village has buckets. Many of them have buckets in their yards. So, um, yeah, because, there's a little thing called consistency, and where you fail to have consistency, you have claims of discrimination and harassment. And as a lawyer, I'm sure you're aware those are 2 words lawyers don't really care for: discrimination and harassment. and I definitely feel that I'm being harassed. So, uh, at this point, I'm not gonna do anything about the buckets. I'll go there, I'll mow, I'll keep the yard, you know, tidy in that way, and um, I'll start getting rid of some of the stuff because I didn't have garbage before, so I'll start bringing some of the stuff out slowly. Um, but my body's in pain. There's only so much I can do, but it'll take everything I have just to get the lawn mowed. But yeah, so I'll keep up with that and keep the lawn looking nice. But the buckets, they're upright. They're sealed. I've got other stuff in my yard, and I don't understand why that's not a nuisance. There's been like 5 or 6 bags of mulch that have been there since last year. Got a couple broken lawn chairs. I've got a thing of wood. I've got some lattice board leaning up against the house. Why is none of that considered a nuisance? Why is it only the buckets? So I think this whole vendetta against the buckets is kind of ridiculous, and I think you just need to let it go. Um, Whoever this individual is, whatever their reasoning is, for why they don't like the buckets, they just need to get over it. The buckets aren't hurting them, and they don't pay my bills, so they don't really have any right to tell me how to live. Um, and vice versa, I have no right to tell them how to live. So, um, yeah. So this video probably could have gone better, but it's completely unscripted. Um, but that's kind of how I roll. I don't really put a lot of thought into these videos. I just pick the phone up and make a video, and whatever I get is what I get. Don't really do editing. Yeah, so now I'm rambling, but I do that too. So I'm trying to work up the energy to get over to Chadwick, bring Rainbow so she can run around and be a crazy dog, mow the yard, pick up the sticks. I actually have, because it's gotten so difficult to get just a walk. It's gotten to be difficult, but I broke down and I got one of those little to pick up, like, because Rainbow's always shredding toys and she eats cans, and it's one of those, I'm sitting here going like this, one of those reachers, like, where you can stand and it picks stuff up. I'm gonna bring that over to Chadwick today, and hopefully I'll have enough energy after mowing the yard to pick up some of the sticks and in the front yard, because I didn't do that last time. But yeah, so I'm even using one of those because if I bend down, or not bend down, bend over, I get dizzy. And yeah, so like I said, I have lots of other stuff to worry about in my life right now than worrying about some buckets that someone isn't happy about. But yeah, so I'm just rambling now. So I'm gonna try to get myself motivated, get over to Chadwick, mow the yard, try to get some stuff picked up. But sorry, Ed, I'm not gonna do anything about the buckets right now. I don't have the energy, and I just think the whole thing is kind of ridiculous. So anyways, later, this will probably be posted later tonight. So, but yeah. Anyways, okay, later, bye. So it's Monday, I'm just finishing up at Chadwick. Got the car loaded with some of the stuff I took off the side of the house, cleaning that up. Got the gas cans, I need to go get some gas so I can finish mowing the yard. Not today, but... And look, there is actually one bucket. in the truck. So I got rid of one bucket. Yay! Yes, that's sarcasm. So I figured my beware of dog signs are still there, but my no trespassing signs are both gone. I'm gonna assume that the wind blew them off and not assume that someone came and took them off, because I'd like to give it the benefit of the doubt. Rainbow's over there, I brought her with. So just kind of wanted to show like the buckets. So there's like I tried to spread them out. Maybe that makes them more of an eyesore. I thought that if they were all together they'd be an eyesore, but so there's some over there. And then I'm walking kind of slow. I've got my golf club. I think this is driver. Is that what that is? The one that they haul off and lob off and hit the ball really far. So, but anyway, so I took the stuff off of here, so that's where that was. So I still need to get rid of these bags. It's all basically recycling. And then there's wood from pallets I broke down, and then a couple more buckets. And I only got the backyard mowed again. The front yard is still full of branches and I don't have the energy to clean it up, but there's some more buckets here. And then these two chairs are broken. And then this one, and then the mulch that has been here since last year. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's 6. And then that, the lattice work, a pool. These garbage cans are all filled with those apples. And then there's some of the buckets over there. That little platform I had built from, and then again those. Rainbow loves being here. I feel bad that we're not here more for her to run around. She loves it. We've been playing with her toys, but so, and then the last of the buckets are just right over there. Oops. Right there. So those are the buckets. I picked up some of the gallon water bottles. So that's cardboard. I should probably do something with that. It's gonna blow. It'll just blow back to the back of the yard. I'm hoping to come back here this week. Pick up those branches. There's a bowl of water for her inside, and she's drinking out of that bucket, which has been there for who knows how long. She prefers rainwater. But yeah, so that's it. That's all the buckets. I'm gonna leave them, come back hopefully later this week, and get the front of the yard mowed. First get the branches picked up. Get the front of the yard mowed, get more of the stuff off the side of the house. I don't know, maybe burn, there's branches in the burn barrel, and then I'll have all the branches from out front, so maybe I can get Foxy and Peanut packed up and brought over here as well. And then the neighbor, we had talked when I was here last time. He was taking measurements, so he knew how many bushes to buy, and he planted them all along. I know when he and I were both buying around the same time, I closed first, and he got this lot with his property, and I had offered to buy it, but he wanted to keep it and plant some trees and bushes, so he finally got around to doing that. So we were talking about it last time I was out here mowing, And I'm like, if you need to get on the property to take any of your measurements, let me know. Give me a text message or a call and I'll come out and let you in. So, but he didn't. He got them planted. So it'll be cool. There, I guess, I don't, he said, hold on, I'm walking. Okay, so like that big thing right there, he said it's the same species as that, but they're not going to be anywhere near as big. So I don't know what that is, but they're going to be like that. I think they're only going to get 6 to 8 feet tall maybe. So, but yeah. So he got around to planting his bushes or trees or whatever you consider them, so that's nice. He's been wanting to do that for a couple years, so anyways, later.